Close your eyes for a moment. No, not to imagine an act, but to feel the pull of a question that makes a room shift. What happens when private desire meets public space? Picture a city bench at death, a commuter, a pulse of curiosity. That image is not titillation for punishment. It is the opening line of an inquiry that asks, how do we teach people to understand their bodies, their impulses, and the lines society draws around them? Tonight, I want to take you through a short, rapid tour, equal parts field note, classroom experiment, and ethical thought experiment about two linked topics: public masturbation as a social and legal phenomenon, and masturbation education as a proactive, harm-reducing curriculum. Fasten your intellectual seatbelt. Start with history. Across cultures and eras, the boundary between private and public has shifted. What one century hides behind closed doors, another debates on the street. That arc matters. It shapes law, stigma, and what students bring to our classroom. So imagine you are interviewing a person who has experienced both shame and curiosity. Listen to their language. They don't need explicit details. They need frameworks, language that legitimizes exploration without encouraging harm. Now, zoom into ethics and consent. Public sexual acts are not just private urges spilled into shared space. They intersect with consent, safety, and the rights of bystander. For educators, this is a core lesson. We teach not how to transgress, but how to translate desire into ethical practices, recognizing context, seeking consensual partners, and using private, legal venues. This is where harm reduction meets sex-positive pedagogy, telling people how to express themselves without violating others. For researchers, the ripe questions stack up like chapters. How do legal regimes shape people's choices? What do bystanders feel? How do queer and disabled communities experience public versus private boundaries? Which public policies reduce harm and which amplify stigma? Mixed methods answer these. Ethnography captures nuance, surveys NAT prevalence and attitude. Policy analysis reveals consequences. A well-designed lab study can isolate information effects. And what happens when people receive non-judgmental education versus abstinence-only messaging? Then there is pedagogy itself. Masturbation education is rarely just how-to. The most powerful curricula I've seen mix anatomy, consent, emotional literacy, and imaginative safety play. Role play that practices saying no and not now. Mindfulness exercises that help people notice urges without acting impulsively. Accessibility adaptations that honor diverse bodies and varying sensory profile. And technology, VR, can create safe rehearsal spaces. Apps can teach anatomy, consent script practice, and to talk about safety checklists. Again, nothing salacious, everything practical. Field examples keep this light. A community workshop that built private, rentable booths in a festival, coupled with clear signage and consent culture, cut incidents and open conversation. A university program that introduced masturbation into sexual literacy modules, reported reduced shame and better reporting of non-consensual experiences. These are data points and sparks for replication. So what do you take back to your lab? Lecture hall or policy brief? Frame questions tightly, center consent, design interventions that reduce harm, use mixed methods to capture messy reality, and never forget story. A single narrative, an embarrassed commuter, a relieved student can guide an entire research agenda. If this made your brain quicken, and good, you're at the threshold between curiosity and inquiry. Close the loop, write a protocol, run a small pilot, talk to community partners. The work is urgent, ethical, and deeply human.